do a demo later.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Dia accidentally touch the demon.
Okay. So
Okay.
guys, turn back on kalau tertutup.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Okay, it's starting guys. Let's go.
Okay, stand by.
Show
Close the door
time.
inside. Hanif, on.
On. Record. Okay, nice.
Hello, Architects. This is Bawang.
Hello.
All Things Architecture Podcast. And now we are live. We did our studio recording, and now we are doing it live for the first time ever from Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre. And it is really our largest show by far. Out of 20 years, this has been running on. And tomorrow is our last day. So don't forget to come in. So Azlan and Fira, how do you feel about this new home that we have for the next 2 hours?
I'm surprised. There's no sound from outside.
Yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
it's like so
Except from our mic, I suppose. And I can't hear anyone.
can't hear.
So,
Yeah.
so by the way, we are in
Yeah.
Extopod G+.
G+.
Dia-
Astropods G+.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you should buy one, Afira, for your factory.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it.
So you can think and
This-
design a bit.
No, I should have the
Admitting.
smaller one so that I can scream and people can't hear. But it's really good. It's really good finishes.
a place to drill the designers.
Yes, exactly.
So I think let's just took off where we left lah. Our architectural journey. I think a lot of people assume it's all rosy. It's all about going through the school, get a good job, and
Yeah.
eventually starting your own.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can share.
Yeah.
How you have become, a professional architect practicing, I think, more than a decade.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It got I think most of us went through a lot of tough decisions to make, especially when you are given a difficult task, and you have being a boss, especially, or becoming right hand man to the boss, especially. You need to make the right decision so that the things are delivered. Designs need to be at the points, and it needs to be functional, and it's not easy. It needs a lot of knowledge. Means we have to equip ourselves with knowledge, read a lot, speak, go to datum to learn from all the speakers, and then go back to office and do the work. But yeah, it wasn't easy. How about you?
Yeah, I think each of us, to get where we are right now, we've gone through very different journey. I've not heard much from you, Kawan, so maybe you could tell a bit.
No, the
Or-
thing is fairly simple. I want to become an architect since 7 years old. Okay. But when I do, suddenly the parent impose something. Okay.
What's that?
You cannot get married until you get your part 3.
So that was the requirement.
More or less lah. Because my father is a professional surveyor,
Right.
he's a QS.
Wow, this is the first time I heard that.
Yeah,
So there is like a bearing on become a professional. So I think dating it might go into your way of getting your ambitious or staying hungry.
Right.
But eventually what happened, I did get married before I get part 3.
Okay.
But we don't have a child before we get, both of us get
Right.
professional.
So
So the condition changed.
The condition.
Yeah, so I think what they're worried about is childbearing household.
Correct.
Because that's going to be
Yep.
quite time consuming.
Yeah, because the profession itself.
Do you have any relation? Ada tak in that sense?
no,
That
not
is quite
really.
extreme lah, I think.
Yeah, I think like on my end, it started because of my mom. She wanted to be an architect more than me. I didn't want to take. There was a point in the career, architecture career, where I said, maybe I don't need to go any further. Yeah, but then one day she just said, it's actually her lifelong dream to be an architect. So I couldn't stop there. I needed to carry the torch.
How did she do it? Like she silently put that thought in you, or?
No, she didn't. It was actually on hospital bed. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to share it here. Yeah, but it was on a hospital bed, and she filled a book. I think my sister gave a book. She was suffering from cancer.
Like
And
a
there was
diary,
a diary, and it actually asked like, what do you want to? If you could actually relive your life, like what would you want to be? And she chose to be an architect.
Oh wow!
So I felt that,
wow.
that was the kickstart for me to like, you know, I need to get my part 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she
what-
went on from there.
How she react when you get your part 3?
She didn't. She didn't make it before I
Oh,
got it.
sorry.
So I got it after.
I
So the
see.
drive to get it was immediately after I know all that. Yeah.
Dia mesti ada a lot of pain kan dalam in the story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've been telling people, right?
Yeah.
You want to make it. That is, like you said, there's no rosy journey.
Pathways,
Each
yeah.
one goes through different paths.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you got to go through pain.
exactly.
But the question is, how do you actually use that pain?
Out of the 40 and the 40 book, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Azlan is addicted to pain. Because it's actually, in a way, if you want to look at it, it's an antidote for life. It's like, you know, the snake venom is also the antidote.
Correct, exactly.
know,
It's like
I think in a way, to go through
It-
such a hard life is
it's
for you
somehow
to
become booster
Yeah.
to achieve the goals. Wow.
So,
So with that being said, meaning you have other interests before you want to be an architect, but eventually an architect is the pathway you choose. So how do you merge your other passion or interest? Or is it stop and then later when you are 40, 50,
Yeah.
maybe you need singer, Is it? You want to be a
No.
chef?
no,
Culinary,
yeah,
No.
I think it was culinary first.
Okay.
I think while I was working as architect, I was even singing at weddings.
You
I
were
was a-
you were singing
Yeah,
at
I
weddings.
was a part-time wedding singer. Then I thought, okay,
We-
maybe
we
that
are
was the route.
Wedding tu tak dapat.
Weddings.
Kan nursery kan, nursery
Yeah.
sekali.
So you in a band or you went
Yeah,
solo?
just
Solo
solo.
ni,
Just
solo.
solo with, yeah.
Masa tu Azlan ada rambut dengan gitar tu. Masa tu. Masa tu.
Yeah, when I used to
So
have
you
hair
were
lah.
singing
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Wow, impressive,
Crazy man.
impressive.
Okay, enough of me about you.
Me, what you want to know about me?
Your other interest. I think
Okay,
you,
yeah.
I think one time I know you.
Mm.
You've been buying a lot of carpentry tools and put in your flats.
Yeah,
And then do carpentry in a housing.
Yeah.
Housing, yeah.
yeah. That was the time. Okay. I had master in architecture, and we were asked to pick any subjects, other subject other than architecture. So during my uni time, I took carpentry, and then at that time I told my lecturer, what if I become the carpenter? And in Melbourne, he said that carpenter doesn't do good money. So I went back to Malaysia. I was like, okay, let's be architect, just work as architect, and I applied credit card for the purpose of buying machine. So the first thing I buy
Betul-betul
with
dia
credit
demo,
card was the table saw, and I live in apartments, very small apartments. I turned one of the smallest room into a workshop with a table saw, and because it's an apartment, you know all the legal thing that management doesn't allow you to run big machine. You need
Right.
permit for renovation, things like that. So what I did was every Saturday I look up outside the window. I look at the compressor for my neighbor downstairs. I live at the topmost floor. So I look at the compressor, if the compressor dripping with water or not, because that's how I tell my neighbor have left the house or not. Then I saw,
Then you start using.
then I start using. But yeah, with this pot actually, I was thinking, what if I have this pot at that time?
Right.
Right, I can cut anything. I do not know. I'm not sure if they have a bigger size pot. I can have carpentry workshops in an apartment with this actually.
I think
Great
I
idea.
think that is the possibility of the future lah, where work and living spaces or dwelling are getting blurred.
Getting the yeah,
Correct.
yeah, with technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what changes lah from the last time that we started
Mm.
as practicing.
Mm.
We don't have much of those hybrid spaces.
Mm.
And then now you can see dual key houses,
Exactly.
sofo,
Sofo.
and all the iteration lah between
Yeah.
work and living.
Visual office.
Virtual office
Yeah.
and all this iteration like apa? Digital
Digital.
nomad and
Mm.
all this. Is this a trend that you will see? What else can we say about the latest trend nowadays? From our starting days, which is quite simple, now every development is a mixed use.
I think that because communication has been quite easy in recent years. When I say
Communication
communication,
technology.
means, the technology,
Yeah.
right? You're talking about Zoom and all that. There was before, but right now it's efficient, right? So that opens up to, I would say I've met a couple of architects yang they are not based in any firm.
Okay.
They're really digital
Macam
nomad. I thought that
hired
digital nomad. Yeah, correct.
Mercenary lah ni.
Correct, mercenaries. Yeah, correct. Mercenary designers. So they're never around. They are somewhere in the world, wherever they may be. They may be at the beach somewhere, but designing a building somewhere in Malaysia. Yeah, so
But they deliver.
they deliver.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the people that I've met before, and it's quite interesting because previously, when you say digital nomad, it's always kind of
Content
restricted.
creator.
Yeah, content creator,
Yeah.
coding,
Social media
programming.
influencer.
Yeah. So I would say that there's more opportunities now, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's transformed everything. It's transformed our profession actually.
I think the fact that
That's-
everyone has a smart device that connected to the internet also help lah.
Yeah.
Last
That's-
time ownership of devices kan, telefon Nokia
Yeah.
yang besar tu. Ada cakap nama brand pula kan. Tapi basically large satellite telephone lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the idea is to really think about how can we develop our intellectual products.
Yep.
Or
And things move so fast that sometimes people copy others, like even for our industry. I think one thing that we are having problem is when we designs, and because maybe we post too much on the Facebook or on the social media, and someone else work faster, they kind of try
like-
to copy that. So that's the danger of the technology at the moment.
like all the Kickstarters lah.
Yeah.
They just want to show the product to garner funds, and then the product is being manufactured already
Yeah.
by someone else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there a way that we can protect that actually? Like,
Yeah.
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 So
I think the idea is really to see how can we. I think on both ends lah, physically and idealistically, because sad to say, sharing here, I just had a leak from the office this year, my first ever leak. I hope so lah. Or the first ever that I just got.
that you
Just because it's
Okay.
been transmitted to a friend's office.
accidentally or someone in the office make it up.
It doesn't look like an accident though.
Oh, it's purposely
So
done.
so sometimes we thought that systems and all the checks and balance, but eventually there's human element inside the firm, which I heard, if they leave, for example, not saying that any of your office happening like this, they leave, but they leave with the files,
Exactly.
or they leave,
Yep.
but they don't deposit the file onto the server or.
Well, they thought that the file belonged to them. That's the current problems. I think most of the office have this problem, that handing over the project that they have done to the newcomer is not being practiced.
I think we're architects are always concerned about designs, but we sometimes forget about the whole IP part of it,
Yeah.
the intellectual property portion.
So
of the
let's
business.
let's see if our next guest can assist us or educate us a bit more.
Sure.
Datuk Sri Mohan, founder and managing director of Adastra IP. Welcome, Datuk.
Welcome. Good. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thank you for making the time.
No, thanks.
To
Thanks
talk
for
to
the
us.
invite. Thanks for the invite.
How are you,
I'm
Dato'?
good. I'm good. I'm good. How about you guys?
We are
It's
good.
quite
Yeah.
cozy, right?
This.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's very, very silent in here.
I hope we are not oversharing out there.
Yeah.
Macam
Because we can't hear.
Personal
We can't
lah,
hear, yeah.
this time.
We almost forget that we are sharing outside.
Yeah.
Like, because
But that's perfectly fine, I guess.
it's more natural.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Have you come across any issues before on IP? I mean, I've heard you mentioning earlier something on IP.
Yeah, I think I guess I have
Thank
this
you for
question,
time.
like, they always say, okay, when architects design, it's protected.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi,
Right,
good
but
afternoon, everyone.
What
So,
is protected
my
actually?
name is Sharon.
I
So,
think
welcome
we had a
everyone
very
to
brief
listening to my
discussion
present.
Whether
Um,
if I'm developing something,
about
or I'm
archi-
designing
before?
something, it comes in stages, right?
Do you
The
know
design process involves multiple iterations until you get
So,
to the
before
final
I
one. So, let's say someone
Which
takes.
stage do you protect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I protected from day one? And if I'm protected, what am I protected under?
Okay.
Yeah. That was,
Firstly, when you talk about protection, I mean, sometimes people just use it very loosely and they say, you need to protect your designs, you know. What does it mean? If I can just take my handphone out and I'll just give you an example. When you look at the handphone, you have several types of protection on a handphone. It all falls under IP. Intellectual property is the main, but under IP you have several.
Okay.
For example, the brand iPhone, the logo, that falls under trademark. That's also important for architects. Architects sometimes do not feel that they need to actually protect the brand. I'll touch on that a bit later. Then the industrial design, the design of the phone is protected under industrial design. The shape
I believe
of the phone
that-
is also very important. In certain industries, the shape is important. Even for your industry, it is. So that's something which I'll talk about.
拜拜，拜拜，还有他的那一位。
马的也有问题。
Bro, I think
Architectural, this one just to
This is mic. Mic 3. I need mic 1, sorry.
You want to see my
Yours, is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Too loud or?
Frequency crash.
Oh, frequency crash.
Oh, no wonder just now someone else voice come in.
Ada macam itu pun ada. Okay.
Yeah, that's kena IP ke frekuensi.
But boleh. Kalau you solve this problem, boleh patent. Kalau you solve the problem, boleh patent.
Boleh patent the frequency,
Boleh
yeah?
patent. If you solve this problem,
Even frequency.
now we can have 4 and then the frequency can interact with one another probably without interrupting. It can be a patent as well, possible. So do I continue? Tutup dulu.
Are we good?
Okay,
Okay.
alright.
Belum lagi 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh, 2 minutes.
So it's yours, Tawa. It's yours.
So Dato, have you heard about, and I can drop name now, right? Anish Kapoor, the one that designed that have the
India.
blackest black,
Vanta Black.
Vanta black, and then he
Okay.
patented that colors, and he don't let anyone to use it.
Okay.
It's colors, you know, like
Yeah.
it's so subjective. Can that be protected?
It's a very good question, you know. So if it's a discovery, no, you can't. If it's a discovery, something is already available.
Are we good?
Yeah, just continue.
Okay, so you're talking, and I can see why you're asking about black because you're wearing black. Wearing black. That's uniform for architects. And
Maybe we should recap. So
Yeah,
I was asking, there's one artist, very famous artist, that patents black.
The colour.
The name is Vanta Black, right?
Yeah, I believe
Vanta Black, and he don't let any other artist or architects to use the colors. Is that allowed?
Okay, so I need to really. That's why I said I need to get sometimes the facts. And I was giving an example earlier. You know, under IP you have several types of protection, and namely trademarks and the industrial design. There's also patents. Like if you look at the phone, probably there's about 200 patents over here, which you do not see. But you know, the click to activate it, that would be a patent. The cameras also will have a few patents. So probably there's about 200 or over patents in here. And then if there's a microcontroller in here, microcontroller may have some source codes. That source code is under copyright. So several types of protection. So I'm just coming to you to answer your question. I need to firstly understand whether he protected the name or did he claim that he protected the technology itself?
No,
Because if it's the
the colours
technology, it's
itself.
patent. The color itself, that means the technology behind how he managed to get the
to
black,
manufacture
black,
the
black,
colour.
then
I see.
he would be able to actually file a patent for it if
Okay.
no one else has done it before. But if it's a discovery where the color is already in nature and he just discovered it, for example, like magnet, the first person who finds magnet, they cannot protect it and say they are the inventors of magnet.
Okay.
You can't, because that's
Okay.
a discovery.
Okay.
But if he has created that black where it's extra black because there's a technology behind it, he's got some kind of mixture, some formulation to get that sort of black, yes, then he would be able to protect it.
Okay.
Because it's something that he
Interesting.
created. It's not something they discovered.
Right.
He created it. So it's possible. And sorry, just one more thing. Even the name, if he comes up with a special name for the black, he can also stop others from coming up with that, using that name for the black. They can call it black, the blackest black. But that particular name you mentioned, the Wonder Black, others can't use it. If he's also protected under trademark.
Right.
Yes, what
So
were you saying?
the black, the name is called a trademark,
That
right?
name is under trademark.
The color itself, or
Color, it's more of the technology,
Technology.
to get the color, to acquire the color, to manufacture the color. That technology
process.
the process can be protected.
So
Yeah.
I think just a follow up to this. So let's say another person comes up with a very different technique, but it achieves the same black.
Yes.
Yeah, black is black, right? So they're competing pretty much. So
Yeah.
in disputes, is that a valid?
So if you look at the paint,
yeah.
at the paint, and the paint is a product, and the product comprises a certain composition, and I protect the composition as a product, and then that can also be protected. I can also
see.
protect the composition itself.
I see.
So if the other come up with a different process but coming up with the same product at the end of the day, you can also stop with the patent, because a patent can be a process, it can also be a product, it can even be a new use for something, can also be patented. So there are quite a number of things that can be protected. So that's where architects sometimes need to look into these things. Sometimes you might be working with an engineer. You might look at a water feature and you'll say the water feature can work better if it's like this, and you work with a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
And then you come up with a improvement, a solution.
Yeah.
You may be able to file a patent for that water feature as well, possibly. And others may not be able to use the water feature unless they get a license from you.
I think I should
That's on the patent.
should start inventing weird bricks dimension and call it kawa brick.
So finally, bricks have been protected as well. Of course, the composition of bricks, of course.
Yeah.
But designs of bricks, because if you put it together in such a way,
Yeah.
it will become stronger.
Yeah.
You
Correct.
can actually protect that dimensions of bricks. It's possible.
Does this protection for architects at least come with the status quo of the professionals, or since it's done by a professional, we also need to have another step to get it registered, or is it status quo?
No, you have another step. I mean, you need to
Yeah,
go and
there
file
is
it.
another
So
step.
Right.
the only thing is the copyright which you mentioned. I mean,
Yeah.
you heard this, when you come up with your design, you automatically have protection. There's some truth to it.
Okay.
Because when it's just like a song. I mean, when you come up with a song, you create a song and you take a recording of the song, you automatically can say that I have a recording of this song. You can prove the earliest date of creation for that particular song. You have copyright for it. Anyone who can prove the earliest date of creation would be able to get the rights for that particular IP as a copyright. So
see.
if you come up with your blueprint, your drawing, and you're the first one to come up with that particular layout for a particular petrol station, for example. So once you finish your drawing and you publish it, or you file it with the patent office, voluntarily you go in and you file it, you will have copyright for it. Because as long as you can prove the date of you creating this design,
It's earlier.
then it's earlier, you will have copyright protection for it. If another person comes and shows that he came up with the same design a month before you, and he can prove he came out 1 month before you, then he will have copyright automatically. So that's why they say by automatically you will have copyright for it.
Do you mind running us through all those small logos at the end with certain
Okay, good.
register?
No, it's
and-
very good question. Okay, so
Yeah.
on an immediate basis, copyright. I mean, when you create your own copyright, you just at the bottom you just put C, and then you mention who owns it, the author. Maybe it's your name or your company, and you put the date that you created it.
Okay.
Then automatically you have copyright for it.
Yep.
Now, another one you would have seen is TM and R. So when you file a registration, a trademark, at the stage of filing, or even if you do not file, you can actually put TM next to your trademark. That's fine. TM is fine because you're claiming this is my trademark. That's TM. But when you look at the R with in a circle, that is even stronger because then it's registered already. It was filed and the government has approved it and you've got it registered. So then it's even stronger.
And how long is the process?
So that process will take about a year, probably.
About a year.
I mean, within 6 months. I mean, you want to
Reviewing
expedite.
it,
Yeah, because they have to go through a few applications and then the exam.
Will they
the
go
exam.
through checking?
They will
Of
check.
course, they will check,
They
of
have to
course.
go through.
If there's another
That's
filing before this, they'll object to it. So they will check.
And this
That's
registration,
on trademark. Yeah.
and this registration are limited to the
Territorial.
jurisdiction.
Very good. Okay.
under
Territorial.
who?
It's only for Malaysia. So it's only in Malaysia. If you want to file in other countries, you need to go and file in few other countries
So
as
I can
well.
go to Indonesia and still I still
No.
can do my.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
There's some caveat to it. I mean,
Not as easy as
technically,
that.
not as easy as that. I mean, if you can show under bad faith, you went and filed it. Under bad faith,
Okay.
yes, you would be able to. He will be able to come after you. But it's going to be a bit more lengthy process for you. You have to go and challenge him.
Right.
So it's easier for you to just file your trademark over there. So as we were talking earlier as well. For example, just to give you some examples, like I think Sexan is a very well-known architect over here. He's got his project called Sekeping something. He's even filed a trademark for his project.
wow.
He's filed.
Wow.
Some have gone step further. They've even filed the name. I believe you also filed your name.
Yeah.
which is very good. Okay.
Here.
So when you have
Only here.
good. When you only here, okay, you can pick it overseas. But when you have your name protected, next time when someone says this building or this house, this bungalow was designed by you, probably it might have a bit of a premium price to it, probably.
Exactly.
So that is why the name becomes important, because then they will say like, oh, this was actually designed by this particular architect.
So it works like branding.
It's
even,
branding, of
even
course,
for
it's branding.
architects.
Even for that's what I mean. Even architects, contractors, architects, it will be necessary.
Wow.
And there's a brand to it. I mean, there's a value to it. There's a value also in it. A property, when you buy a property, a bungalow, and then by using this well-known architect's name and saying they designed it, immediately the bungalow can go up by 20%. The value might just appreciate by 20%.
Maybe, pushing on from that, maybe you can share a bit more about how can we commercialize those trademarks. For example, can he
Yes, good.
Can he slap his name on a coffee?
Eventually, yes. Eventually, of course. I mean, so you can monetize, you can commercialize. So why?
Licensing lah, is it?
No. Firstly, for your brand, because you have a name.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You can license to others to use the
Okay.
name as well, because
Okay.
your name is pretty popular. You can license your name. Now, if you're really very popular, you can even license your name to overseas countries as well. If they say I've got the license to use your name and say that this bungalow was designed by, and they can use your name, immediately the value goes up. So that's one way of monetizing. You can go one step further. If you're really super popular and you like drinking coffee, as what you mentioned, and then you can just use you open up your own cafe, and it's a very nicely designed cafe because of your name, and then you come up with your specialized coffee.
Right.
And you call it particular name. I mean, if you want to use your name itself, it's possible, or your company's name, it's possible. So you can ride on your brand itself until you become famous. When someone copies you, that's when you realize how famous you are. A lot of my clients, they'll only come to me later. When someone copies them, then they realize like, my name is because in the beginning they'll think like,
do they register or?
no, that's what I said. Beginning they'll say, no, I don't need this registration.
Right.
I don't need it. It's not important for me.
Right.
But when someone starts copying them, that's when they realize how important the name is.
Wow.
I think.
Yeah. So that's something you'll need to look at. I mean, protect the name. It can even be your project as well. If I can even explain, like the design of KLCC, the KLCC tower, was actually protected as an industrial design.
I mean the shape.
The shape was
The shape
because
itself.
that can be sold as a merchandise. So you have 25 years protection. So for 25 years, no one else would be able to sell that as a merchandise because they've got the protection for it.
So what happened 35? They need to renew?
No. After 25 years, they want the market to move as well. So you have protection for 25 years. Trademark is different. You can have protection forever, like your brand. Your brand, you can have protection forever. But industrial design only for 25 years, patents for 20 years. Because they want the technology to keep moving. They want the design to keep moving as well.
How about digital representative? For example, Azlan in the virtual world, in the metaverse, but look like Azlan.
Yes,
That also can be protected.
that he should. That's why when you protect your Azlan as a name for this particular industry, even if they come up with the other,
So not limited to the physical world.
No, not
digital.
digital.
as
Yes,
well.
even digital.
Same
And that
thing.
is where the classes come in.
Yeah.
This is where you need to consider all the other classes. So that's why when you protect your brand as well, you just protect your brand under your name for architect. But in case you're getting into other businesses, you need to also file in other businesses. So you need to extend your protection in
Understand.
other classes. The cost is not so much, so don't be too alarmed or worried about it. Like if I'm going to file in every country, or I'm going to file in so many classes, it's not so much because your business is also growing. You always file your trademarks in tandem with the growth of your business.
I see.
Yeah.
So remember, guys, we need to prepare the umbrella before the rain come. When the rain comes, it's already too
It's
late.
already too
I
late.
think this is Malay proverb kan.
Yeah.
So bila translate a bit
I'm trying to where did it come from?
So how does this protection be enforced?
Okay, firstly, enforce, you need to firstly get yourself protected. I mean, as I said, copyright, automatically you can get it, as long as you can prove the earliest date of creation. Trademarks, industrial design, and patents, you need to go to the patent office. You can use consultants, IP consultants, lawyers to protect it for you to prepare the paperwork, and then you go to patent office, or you can go to My IPO, the patent office directly, and also file it through them.
So that
There's
can
a
be
fees.
done
That
directly
can be done
to the
directly
end
as well.
user.
For the end users, yeah, you can go to My IPO, the government agency, and file it as well if you want to.
I have like one final question
Sure.
from me.
Okay.
I think we were talking about design and copyright, right? And you said, okay, if you can prove an earlier date that you actually designed it, then you have grounds for it.
Yes, yeah.
But would you say if I file that particular design for copyright, I have the upper hand when it comes to disputes?
Yes.
It's a bit harder
No,
to,
you see, if
or
you don't have any design protection at all, and someone copies you, then it's just going to be like, you know something, I designed this, someone just took it and went and copied it, You'll say these things, someone was working for me, they took it out. But once you have it registered, whether it's copyright or under industrial design, once you have it registered, you have the filing date, and you have it formally, protected. Then if someone copies you, you would be able to stop them. Now there's also this question about how much must they change in order to copy. But if they have this habit of always taking your designs, and they've done it for 3 times, you protected it 3 times and 3 times, then all the more the case is going to be favoring you, right? So that's why I say we need to look at many cases. The design, the layout that you came up with, is it a common layout or is it something so cutting edge? If it's a common layout that many people have used and you're now claiming it's yours, it's not fair. That's why I said I need to look at case-to-case basis. But if you have protected yours, every single time you protect, and now another guy always comes back with the same layout for whatever that you come up with a bungalow design, he will come up with the same bungalow design. Second time you do it again, but you've protected yours. Then your case is even stronger. When you go to case and you can show he has this habit of always copying you, so then his case eventually become very weak. So that is why start protecting yourself. It makes it much easier, for future.
So we need to start open up a dirt file for designers that follow you too closely.
Too closely, because otherwise always I hear this.
Building out a case.
Yes, I always hear this. This person copied me. My staff, took it to another place, and then he took this design. He went and shared with somebody else. You'll hear all of that, but you have to start doing something. Once you protect yourself, you would be able to at least have something to go after them.
I don't know if you know this, but the GBI diagram in almost all competition, that with a gradient bar and then the one, it's actually my iteration back in like 13 years ago. Like I did that first.
then it's all like versions of that.
Version of that.
Right.
Sampai this generation dah tak tahu siapa punya.
Siapa
They
punya.
don't even know who's actually started it because they just
Yeah.
keep copying each other.
See, macam the show as well, Architects. Architects is also a trademark. So another person can't come up with the same kind of show and call it a similar name. So even that is a trademark that they protect. So all the more, architects need to start looking at protecting themselves so that they can take it overseas and take Malaysian's name also overseas in a way. Some of the designs can go overseas, and others will look at it and go like, oh, okay, it's a Malaysian design, and they'll recognize it as a Malaysian design. Not that it's lost after some time, where people just do not know where this design came from. So that's something you can look at.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank
No
you.
problem at all.
Super enlightened.
Okay, sure.
We're gonna
look into protecting and monetizing.
We're gonna strap up and protect ourselves. Back, front, top and center.
Okay, guys, good luck with all your
Thank you, Dr.
protection.
Sri.
Okay,
Take care.
thank you
Take care,
so
guys.
much.
Take care.
Thank you so
Wow,
much.
guys. So with that being said, we are super vulnerable actually.
It
In
is.
our current state.
It's like we are open. Like if you post your work up there and you are not protected, the next day you will find out your competitor is taking your design. So, and then you can't do anything about it.
But that's the hard bit, right? Like everyone is inspired
The
by
balance,
someone at some point in their design life. So how do you actually,
Yeah.
how do you
But you
gauge
also
that?
don't want to be so covered up to the point where you can't show any photos or in the fear of
So
Being
so
copied.
you need to find a
Yeah.
balance lah. I think.
Yeah.
tricky middle ground now.
So at some point you need to be someone that inspire others, or at one point you need to be okay. Maybe this worth to be patent and it belong to the company or to me, kind of thing. But at most of the points, most of the time we need to inspire others also. I think that's where the fine line as a designers, you can't take everything for yourself.
Okay, so Dato Sri mentioned about KLCC.
Mm.
How about historical building? Like, you know, Famosa. I know, I'm not sure lah, if somebody patent it or not. But looking at the amount of people that selling souvenirs quite rampant lah. Kan, dekat baju kan. Melaka bersejarah or whatever.
Everyone making money out of that.
So those buildings are exposed lah. I mean,
Yeah.
the money of licensing of those merchandise could be helping conserving the old monuments
Exactly.
and whatnot.
Yep. Yep. Wow, never thought of it actually.
There must be a model, right?
Yeah.
Ke Datuk Seri Expo Negeri Melaka ke dekat sini ke? I'm not sure. Because last time when I walk and I talk to Lembaga Museum Melaka, they are in whole of or in charge of 26 different museum from Museum Stamp, Museum ni, Museum tu, Museum Hang Tuah and whatnot. And they are finding a way to leverage these assets to get some financial aid lah, protecting.
So I think patent could work in financing back the heritage building, especially those. Kota Famosa is one of it because it's so monumental. You can see the shape of it. If you draw a line of the wall, you can tell that's Kota Famosa. And if it's not done right or by the right people,
Proportion, could lari kan?
Could lari or the benefit or the financial gain that someone get from it doesn't return back to the city, then it's a waste.
Eh, Fira,
Right.
I think I saw your old boss just pass by.
Yeah.
Later we try to call him in.
There he is.
If he pass by again, we call him. So
Sure.
basically, I think you can see there is a surge of appreciation of the, not say old or heritage building per se lah, but maybe post-war colonial buildings. What do you think about that trend?
I think it's good.
It's good.
It's like moving towards the right direction. I think it's the right direction
But
because
who get the rights for it?
rights for museums, I'm not too
For
sure.
museums.
Tapi for buildings,
Private
I think
buildings,
like private buildings,
Private
in the
owned
context of
buildings.
private buildings, I think it's a good move to actually reuse those instead of tearing it apart, tearing it down, and coming out with something new. But because you could still preserve the history, the culture. I know through architecture that old building, it holds a significant memory for that place.
And also things are built to last time.
Go back to my slip.
Exactly.
So I saw a lot of
What's this,
videos like people discovering hardwood floors after they tear up the carpets.
Testing 1,
You know,
2, 3, 4.
those kind of stories.
Testing
And
1, 2, 3,
finding
4.
this
Testing 1,
Ponds
2,
under
3,
the
4.
house, the old
Testing 1, 2,
ponds,
3,
what we call it?
Well.
The well. The
Testing
well
1,
under the
2, 3,
house. Wow,
4.
that's kind of.
I think Tangsi ada perigi. There
Tangsi?
is a well, yeah.
Is it?
Where?
Where is it?
There's
In Tangsi.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is one. Because that's how they get water supply lah, obviously, right?
Then
because if
now
you-
they close it up.
They put an acrylic piece lah on top of it.
Right.
Or acrylic piece, so we can still see
You
it.
can still see, but because of the poor, it's not lighted up from the below, from the bottom, so not much to see also lah in a way. Yeah. I think
Probably
the
a bit scary
I
lah.
think the preconceived idea is, for example, the post-war
The post-war.
shop houses, right? They need to use this breathing plaster, lime plaster, and that make owners quite scared of getting into this. They thought it's an endless money pit lah per se.
Yeah.
Like keep renovating, but
The
they can't
restoration
get- yeah,
bit
for
of
the
it,
restoration
yeah.
work. How do you feel about that? Is that true? Is it really? Because we see some successful project, what?
Yeah.
Using old stock building.
I think especially in Penang and Ipoh, right? I think those are the places where they've actually gone really active and really revive
Right.
so
I think it
many.
depends on the big programs. Like if it's for tourists, yes, they need that kind of procure to make sure that it still preserve the old method of maintaining the building rather than taking off.
You mean the technique of,
The technique of plastering,
lime plaster,
the lime plastering.
the brick, yeah. But do you think it is important to preserve the function as well? Meaning, previously it was a, let's say, shop and house on top, let's say, and then you turn it into a cafeteria. What do you think about it?
I think it should be more flexible rather
Flexible,
than what it used to be, because the program changed. The needs and demands and the way we use the space or the surrounding will differ.
Right.
It will differ from time to time, from generation to generation, and we have to somehow accept that the building is the buildings, but the programs evolve, and from time to time, rather than it's as one building, it might be connected to others, and it make the old kind of shop houses be more valuable. I think that's how we should treat the old building rather than we smack them down. I think it's like kind of rejuvenates with a new additions or injection of designs can help push it forward.
Just like what we did Malaysian as Malaysian into better see power supply or power factory.
Better see something. I really remember the better see part.
Better see part. So they redevelop it into a Google Office or something. Yeah. But the thing is, in Malaysia, people want to see result quite fast.
Yeah.
And then their imagination of what it could be is fairly limited to what is already built.
Yeah.
You know, people can't imagine, for example, Famosa jadi tempat nasi kandar ke contoh.
Yeah.
Actually macam boleh ke? Because people like to eat in weird places ah.
Exactly. I just wonder, is there any grant from the governments to help this kind of redevelopment, rejuvenation?
Private building, I think, is difficult lah.
Very difficult. But I think like in Penang, it was actually like a grassroots movement to actually revive. I heard it in a talk somewhere. But basically, what happened in the Georgetown area when they revived it, it's actually starting from people who actually own the buildings, right? They actually live there, probably the second or third generation, and they are the ones who actually kickstart. With architects, of course, and you know, to actually get it going.
How they pull the money or finance it?
Collectively.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about just, okay, I'm just going to renovate my lot, right? So it's more like, okay, what do we do? What is the blueprint of actually reviving this entire area?
Macam Groupon ke ni? Macam crowdsourcing lah. Macam Groupon is like, if you subscribe enough, they lower the price.
I guess so. I'm not sure. I don't know the details, but roughly.
But it's kind of community.
Correct, community driven.
Driven. But Penang have totally different landscape than KL. I think we all agree with that, and they keep pushing it forward. I think financially they can see there is beneficial in it. I hope that Malaysia, KL especially, you know, the old KL is coming back, like the coffee shops along Jalan Tempera. So we can see that it start to rejuvenate, become cafe and arts place. And I think I remember actually my ex-boss did the rejuvenations of one of the post-modern building. If you in KL,
okay,
the toffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We gotta hear from the man himself.
Yeah, I think I see him. Let me just grab him if he can join us and talk a bit about his experience with us. Hello, Doc. Come in.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hey, hi guys.
To our humble pod.
Oh, this is a nice little boat.
Yeah. So Fira was mentioning that you actually rejuvenate an old building, Toffee. Maybe you want to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I purchased an old building about a year and a half ago.
Oh, Doc, you have to feel it, to walk. Oh,
okay. Sorry.
Wow.
Social distancing.
the camera is there.
Okay.
Pointing it to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought days of social distancing has come and gone. So I bought a building about a year and a half ago. It's one of the oldest private sector office building. It's 10 stories, and it's number 2 Raja Chulan. We have named it Toffee because something sweet and savory.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Is the whole building or is
It is an entire building.
It's the entire building.
So it's a 10-story building, and rather than to tear down and build again, I could not build a new building with the same price that I bought it. So rather than to destroy all the heritage, decided to refurbish it. It was opened by Tunku Abdul Rahman in the 1950s before he was Prime Minister.
okay?
Yeah.
First office building.
One of the first private sector.
Private
okay.
sector office
You can
building.
find it in the film Negara Reels.
Do you have any
Oh.
memory about it when you?
I wasn't born yet.
You were there.
I mean, after.
I'm actually quite young. Yeah, contrary to common belief, I'm actually quite young. One of the first insurance companies in the region. Yeah, so there's a bit of history there.
So since you are here, we are talking about some people are afraid to go into this because they are afraid they cannot get their capital back. So in your experience, do you think this is instead of, I think you mentioned just now, instead of building a new building, which is you can't do it with whatever you have spent on repairing, do you think there is a good economic case for reviving old buildings?
For sure. My doctorate when I was doing in the 1990s, late 80s.
Kira umur.
We actually had a housing program for Australia called urban homesteading, where we used to buy dilapidated old houses in Melbourne city centre,
Okay.
and we move rental housing people into them, and gave them a bit of money to refurbish it while they live there. So if you want to buy good properties right in the middle of city, now's the best time to buy, because office buildings. After COVID, the single-use building has become a bit obsolete. So offices have moved out. People work from home a lot more, and so there are a lot of buildings that are on the market at a price that is pretty affordable. You would not be able to build the same house, same building for the price.
Will the authority impose you new requirement? Let's say you bought the
latest guideline.
Yeah, the latest guideline. We all know
Okay,
how.
what we found was DBKL has been very supportive and did not impose any additional conditions, as long as probably if you don't double the size or
The area.
Okay.
or change the use.
Can't be double.
I think if you increase it significantly, then you would
Need to justify.
you
lah.
need to provide more facilities or car parking.
Car park, yeah.
So, Doctor, I think just to touch on what Kawa said just now before you came in, I think about people who are afraid, like, let's say I'm in an old shop house, right? I want to revive, but I don't have architecture background, let's assume that. And it feels like a very tall order to actually get it to a better state. What's your approach in how you handle? What would be your advice actually to them? Like,
I think the first thing is you hire a good architect. I mean, the architect's fee is very small in comparison to your revenue. So you hire a good advisor or a good architect, and then from there, I think it should be quite smooth sailing. I think for architects, it's a natural thing. We are very good with hardware.
So listen, Hall 8, hire a professional. It eliminates all your headache. So in terms of occupancy, do you think Lisa or maybe even patrons like to enjoy this kind of buildings?
Okay, most of the buildings, if you were to invest in a building to restore, I'm sure the location will be quite good. Because like the ones I bought, they are all in the city center. Never in my life would I ever dream that I would own a building in number 2 Jalan Raja Chulan, which is Taufik. Never. When I started my practice,
How come we across the building?
during COVID Delta, at night nothing to do.
That's an interesting thing to do, right?
Sleep, and then somebody sends me, an agent sends me plans of a building that's for sale. I flip through the plan and I said, wow, this is a very well designed building. I couldn't have designed a better building, because in the old days, in 1950s, the first office building, private sector in KL, you would have had a pretty good architect. And you would have spent a lot of time
Correct,
designing
correct,
it.
yeah.
Because you
By
don't
hand.
have other jobs.
By hand, guys.
Exactly.
And I said this, I couldn't have designed a better plan. And then I flipped at the price and I said, oh, I can almost afford this.
Orang lain, for most of us, we just scroll through Shopee, dog. We do that late night purchase.
So you just keep doing that, and then after about 20, 30 years, you might buy another 118.
Oh.
But that's interesting. Means you hold a piece of history, right?
Yeah.
I think
Never
that's
in my wildest dream I ever thought I would own a piece of property right in KL city center. We always think it's going to be owned by big property developers.
yeah, like
ultra rich, you know.
I collect shoes. Dog collect good old buildings. That's kind of like a hobby, you know. As
You collect shoes? I thought you collect bicycle.
bicycle shoes. So
I think you should move to. You can do more with your property.
but what is the best market right now that of buildings that we should invest in, like in KL itself, if you have second chance or
You
another
mean like an old mansion versus old offices? Is it?
I think when I first started practice, I used to buy old houses.
okay
yeah.
And I used to renovate them and sell them. It is a good business. Then everyone started to jump into it. And those days there were very few bungalows. So when you buy a bungalow, it's very easy to sell after you do it up. But now developers, when they do townships, they launch a lot
Mix
of
it up.
bungalows
Yeah.
and all these. So it became harder and harder to do. But this opportunity to buy inner city good property has only just happened maybe the past 3-4 years.
right.
Yeah.
Is there any support from government, like better rate on loans, things like that? If you buy old
Easement
buildings?
tax or assessment tax or?
I actually don't rely on government.
Or
But
That's why
because-
BAM is an NGO, non-governmental organization. I don't rely on any handouts or.
But the fact that they allow you to work in certain parameter without imposing the planning policy, and I think that's
I
that's
think
good.
Softer lah.
city is trying to promote life back into the city.
yeah.
Now, I mean, you know, the amount of infrastructure, every LRT line, every MRT line ends up in the city center.
Yep.
It takes people from outside in.
Yeah.
And that's the most amount of infrastructure has been invested there, and the facilities. So that's actually the best place to be living. And we look
Yeah.
forward to a day when, you know, you go to Bangkok, you go to Jakarta, people actually live in shop houses.
Yeah.
exactly.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here,
But here is the outsiders who stay in the city. If you
Expat
go,
lah, expat.
no, our foreign workers.
foreign workers.
Yeah,
yeah.
softer way of saying it. Softer way of saying it.
Unfortunately, the living conditions are not the best,
Okay.
but they are living in the best part of
That's
the
best.
Yes,
That's
correct.
part in Kuala Lumpur actually.
They save on transport, they come down, the mamak is there, you know, everything is within.
So
5 minutes.
actually we should come back. We
Yes,
should
we should.
swarm into the city.
In Bangkok, a lot of people, I know a lot of young architects who live on top of their offices and shop houses, and they park the car behind. Sometimes they have a coffee shop at the ground floor. Some of them sell art. I think we need to go back to the days, you know, where our office is actually close by.
Yeah.
I think we don't have what do you call it, a good batch of people doing that. But I saw this one guy that actually that collects antiques, furnitures, and really live in the city above a old shop lot. I can't remember his name, but he collects this eclectic range of furnitures and really live like in 1920s punya vibe lah.
Oh,
Yeah.
in Malaysia.
So hopefully he garners some, you know, social following, and then more people will be exposed to that kind of lifestyle, and then, you know, things start.
I think
to
I saw a
change.
video on that. Yeah, he actually collects all the
I just can't recall his name right
trinkets.
now. Yeah.
I think maybe to encourage this a bit more is for corporations or Institute of Architects, perhaps with sponsorship. to purchase a building and make it into an example. To show, bring back city living.
Slowly, one by one, right?
So I need to get myself one old building also lah.
Okay,
That's the target, right?
you know, I'm being challenged to buy an old terrace house. Because I've always advocated, you know, a house without walls, flexibility. Right, the rail house, everything is movable, partitions. And I'm a big advocate for exposed services. Leave all the pipes, all the electrical wires exposed so you can maintain it easily. I think somebody should do that, and it will become a show unit, show house.
It's just empty.
You can actually live there, and at the same time, market your architectural abilities.
How do you feel about not so old but getting older? For example, in USJ area,
I'm totally fine with it because some of these communities are already very established. So places like SS2, Section 17, Klana.
They mature.
Perfect for it. If you can find a nice terrace, refurbish it, make it a green building with good roof, insulation, expose the services, free up the space so it can be very flexible for growing families.
USJ one, okay.
Subang Jaya is great.
I love Subang, man. Been living there like 8 years or 9 years. 10 years.
Maybe you can get the member of parliament there to support you.
Ni spokesperson MBSJ ke apa? Kan? but I think there's a lot of our local authorities are now getting more progressive lah. To be fair, I think some of them are pushing for us to recoup or reoccupy old buildings.
I have a lot of faith in the new gen. They got better ideas. They are more adventurous.
Where are those new gen officers or not high enough? Maybe soon lah. Soon.
Soon.
I love
you gotta make it happen.
I love your Ulmu. I cannot remember how many times I went to your Ulmu number 1.
Because you work on it good. That's why you learn it so much.
I was helping for the submission, that part.
Fira is to work for me. I learned so much from him.
No.
No more pressure.
Ulmu is doing well. It's 2 years old now. It's in Bukit Bintang, Jalan Berdara. We are trying to give something back to the city. It doesn't make money. It just makes enough to cover the cost. But
that's your passion.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to, do things to make the city more livable. More intellectual stimulation.
At the moment, it's kind of contrast to the usage.
The Bohemian area.
Totally out of place. But I think soon it will turn. It will follow the.
Hopefully, it will cause gentrification. I hope they won't transform the place to be all high-rise. I hope it stays as 4 or 5 stories.
You've kick-started that.
Yeah,
hopefully. Okay. So, Doctor, I've got a question for you. Since you've had experiences with adaptive reuse with your Ulmu, what would be the greatest challenge while you actually, renovate or refurbish the buildings? What was the greatest challenge for you?
Are you asking about Karens?
No,
not
it could be.
It
could be your neighbors. It could be the construction itself.
I think surprisingly in KL City, the neighbors are not so bad.
Quite receptive
Not like in the suburbs.
Love that neighbor. Karen pun duduk suburb.
But I guess the biggest challenge today is finding good contractors.
Okay.
That's why you must hire a very good architect. Because
he got the.
By hook or by crook, the architect stays there. Because sometimes I find quite often the contractors let us down. So projects get delayed and level of finish is not what you expect.
Also, what's your plan for Toffee? Because I saw you occupied the 2 floors. That you extended up.
Ulmu 2 at Toffee has 2 floors, level 5 and 6. What we didn't have in the first Ulmu was an event space. We had people who wanted to have birthday parties there, product launches, and we didn't have the space. So this time we got 1 whole floor for that. It's called the project room, level 4. And level 3 we got a music venue, a lecture hall, fully fitted out. So that is like like PAM Center, President's Hall. So I got 2 floors that we are trying to encourage other art galleries to come in, or people in the design design fraternity to come in, and the rest will probably be F&B.
Right.
On top of the roof, we have got a roof garden. It's open to the public. There's some art up there. I wanted to do the socialist thing. That is, I didn't. You know, the top of most buildings is usually the most expensive real
correct.
estate. So rather than to bring in, everyone wanted to rent it, but instead of renting it, we open it to the public.
That's interesting. Invert.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Giving
You
back.
must always do things upside down.
Oh.
Wow.
In previous episode,
Oh.
Fira mentioned architecture is a baby.
It's a baby.
The architect, the professional, have to work closely with the client to create that baby. In the sense of adaptive reuse, the baby is already there.
Yes.
Is this a Frankensteining a baby, or how do you say it?
Adoption.
What is the threshold of the new versus the old that you think is
I think
comfortable?
since you are using an analogy of
Marriage.
Started with the
human
marriage.
anatomy and growth, I would say an old building is like a very matured lady.
Oh wow, the baby dah besar.
Very intellectual, been
Wow.
around.
That's interesting. Okay.
You don't have
So
to-
you respect.
You don't have to teach them too
okay.
many things.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
wow.
You just have to, pamper them,
Right.
feed them up properly, and then should be raring to go.
That's
Go on,
another
go on, that's a
analogy
go on.
for buildings.
Yeah.
Wow.
See? Ask unexpected question, you get unexpected answer.
Upside down.
Upside down.
Always think upside down.
So do you have any events coming up that maybe you can talk a bit about?
Yeah. We just finished the PAM Awards.
Oh yeah.
At exhibition in the project room.
Mm.
November, December, we are having a Le Corbusier exhibition
Ooh.
in conjunction with UIA.
Wow, that's
So
interesting.
we'll be having 120 or 130 models
Right.
from the RT&Q collection from Singapore.
Oh,
Okay.
oh wow.
We'll be having lectures on Corbusier.
Oh wow.
So look forward to that. We are just starting to curate it and plan it.
November.
Okay,
November
so
and
we have to
December.
be there.
Wow. Amazing.
We can do another podcast there.
Yeah.
I think
We can
should.
all
We
wear
should.
Corbusier. Yeah. When you get old enough, you notice, hey, you already started wearing Corbusier glasses.
Long time ago lah.
Usually you get to a certain age, then you wear
Baru boleh.
You jump the queue.
upside down.
Okay, I think
Okay.
I think we don't want to hold you up.
Okay,
in
yeah,
this.
thanks so much.
Thank you so much for
sharing
sharing.
your thoughts.
Pleasure.
See you again,
guys
Doc.
are
See you, Doc.
the future, man.
Alright, see you around.
Ooh,
Wow.
mature lady
Mature lady. That's
Something in your alley lah.
So
I
it's
think
from
they-
what was it? It was marriage. Then you got baby.
Like-
Now there's
Yeah,
okay.
client is maybe husband
Macam
or
dia
wife,
baik lah ni.
then
Macam-
architect is the husband, get the
Macam
building
dia
as a and then the
sorry.
building grow up
Ah,
and become a perfect lady or a man.
yalah.
Wow.
Dia lebih elegant lah. So you nak reno pun jangan ganas sangat.
It must have some protocols.
Protect the ornaments,
Yeah.
kan? Maintain the old tiles, handrails restore.
Yeah. Wow.
Tapi he said raring to go. Go where? Actually, that's why I was wondering. I think go to the next destination lah, meaning turning office into gallery or F&B outlets. Yeah.
So transforming the building actually, but in term rather than transforming the look, it's transform the program.
It's a what do you call it? It's a nice combo lah because the architect Dr. Tan already have the branding, and then the building has another layer of branding.
Yeah. We didn't
Yeah.
ask him.
The stature of the building is already
The history is there, right?
Yeah. So double whammy lah.
Quite interesting. The topic about gentrification.
Mm.
It always starts with one, and looking forward to see what happens next.
Next.
Because once you do one, pretty much the rest won't be touched. But people will get ideas like,
Yeah.
okay, where do we go from here? Like,
But
someone did something really interesting.
but why the word got a bad light ah? Because even
No,
if they
I-
are reviving the area. Yeah.
Correct, but okay, I give you an example, not to step on anyone's toes, right? Like Georgetown, right? We talk
Okay.
about it being a UNESCO World Heritage and all that, that started with a very good gentrification idea. So everything got revived, everything was working well. They were banking on the tourism to bump up. But what happened? What happened was then everyone started selling trinkets, and it became a tourist trap. You get what I mean? So that's when I think the tipping point of from when a gentrification goes from good to maybe not so good.
Tasteful to tasteless lah.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
If you think about it, then suddenly, okay, the function was supposed to be, okay, the building is already revived. The building is already fantastic. But the program, because, okay, now it's already a heritage area, so everyone's going to come here, so I'm going to bank on it for tourism. Now what happens next? Yeah. So I think that is correct.
It's hard to control the final outcome.
Correct.
Especially when involved with so many
Stakeholders. Yeah.
So
True.
I think even for Dr. Tan, I think that's one of the risks of investing on the old buildings. But what we can do from our generation is maybe we play along with it. We try to own one or two, gather some funds and get it.
Okay, Kawafira, we go cari one building.
Yeah, I think we should.
Let's do it.
We should.
So we need to hijack.
We should.
Yeah. And then do one virtual office or one meeting room there. Just.
No, I was just really want to save an old lady lah, to be honest.
She really is not there.
But okay, total 360. 360 patah balik. Total 180.
Yeah.
180? We always say 360, but it's actually 180.
It's okay, architects don't know numbers.
Heritage, and on the other side of the trend right nowadays artificial intelligence. But to be honest lah, for me, if you boil down to the simplest form of it, actually we've been living in an artificial intelligent world for forever. Like your parking ticket, right? How do they know that this number plate is actually been in the mall for 1 hour 30 minutes? Meaning that there must be some processes behind lah. Last time it was human intelligence, because you pass the ticket and then the person calculate lah your parking rates and whatnot, first hour, second hour, blah 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 blah. Then you get the thing. Then we move on to a self-serve kiosk, and that is also, we move on from that because everyone has smartphones and also e-payment gateway. So everything is charged to your, I don't know, wallets lah, your digital wallets when you go in and out from parkings. So we've been living with it for years. But what make it mainstream is actually the ability to interact with it. Usually we are the user, not really. We can't. They wouldn't give.
It's a one-way thing.
Now they can tell us something. What do you think about that? Do you use it in your office or?
Well, for us, we kind of venture into VR now, because one of the reason is because I think clients want more actually, but we do ask them to pay more if you want it. Okay, so one of the thing that we ventures is VR, and another thing is of course AI. AI, you know, there are many platforms out there. There are Midjourney, one of it, the most famous one. So what we do is, before we get into clients agreements, we kind of produce a free load kind of images out of the brief, and then kind of pin down where are the directions. So that kind of AI technology helped us a lot in speed up the decision process, rather than previously. I think what happened in the old days is architects spend a lot of hours staying up, produce their images, and then get rejected. But now it's just like 2 minutes we get the image with the right prompts,
narrowing the scope, narrowing the styles.
So I think in architecture it's evolving in terms of AI, in terms of technology, VR, and soon AR, where clients just can go to the site and then look into the phone and see the buildings, how it built. So I think it's the future right now.
I think a lot of people using it for no good reason, like AIing their profile photo.
Oh, right, okay. put in a selfie, then it comes out as a corporate,
macam
corporate
distorted photo
picture.
of us tu AI tu tak betul. It's not real tu.
It's an illusion. So since you've explored, right, Kira, you know, people, students especially, I think they ask the question, is AI going to take away my job as an architect?
Okay.
I know this is a very broad, generic
Very
question,
concern, yeah.
but
Yes.
what are you guys' punya thoughts on this?
How far is it from us from here today to Vira AI?
What do you mean by that?
Artificial intelligence that can play a role of a full-fledged professional
full-fledged.
architect. How far, or is
I-
it going to
okay.
take away?
From what I see, it's quite far actually. We still have a lot to be done with the AI developments to reach to a full-fledged architect. But what I can tell is AI at the moment managed to touch the surface where previously we could have hired one or two staff to just do simple start of design kind of thing, what we call it, prelim design.
Okay.
But now prelim design is already taken care of by AI. Yes, and to answer that question, yes, it's taking up the
Certain scope lah.
certain scope,
Yeah.
especially the beginners level.
Right.
So the intermediate might save, but the problem now is whether if we don't nurture the beginners, how we get the intermediate architects?
Right.
If we don't protect the beginners. I mean, if everyone start using AI,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be a bit harmful to the architect professions? Because we are not growing our own architects.
So the student is considering dropping out, is it? If your answer is yes, AI gonna replace architect, are they considering?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
because I think the question was more of them trying to understand where is the future taking them, because they can't see, right? They can't see. So am I going to be out of job, or you know, once I graduate,
Yeah.
Well,
is there still a position for
Yeah.
me? I think those are actually very valid questions.
do you remember
But-
the ad, right?
Which ad?
The ad architecture technologies.
Oh, the ad.
wondered-
Okay, the
I just
technologies.
wondered,
Okay.
is that, because we all be wondering what the architecture technologies is for. Is that architecture technologies is, for example, for the students who graduates and can use that technology? I mean, the AI technology.
Could be.
So
Could
it's
be.
another stream of architecture
Specialized
into it.
scope. Yeah.
Right.
But I think the most underrated AI, not most underrated lah, but people a bit more fascinated with the graphic or images or visual producing AI. But I found that the text-based AI is as good or even better in a way, because it becomes your sparring partner. When you have nobody and then your worldview are quite limited, you always can, you know, sort of like brainstorm with it.
Yeah.
In contrast to visual AI, you kind of like you have to be super specific with your prompt
Exactly.
that you might miss out unless they start to put down there. Do you mean like this, and then they start, you know, maybe
They start
that is
to
develop options even though we don't ask for it yet.
Yeah.
So I to be honest, I use the text a bit more rather
the
than the
text.
visual, the visuals, because when you are directed to a certain approach, then the visual kind of like automatic. You know the main keywords and whatnot. You could just do it vice versa. Hopefully, we can have a not a VIP. Is it like a VIP? A guest.
A guest. Yeah.
I've been told Architect Tak is here. So Architect Tak, you know him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Come in.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi guys.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
I see you from.
Semakin handsome, huh?
That's what.
As handsome as you.
I think last time we were working together in a private uni.
Yes.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Don't mention the
Still
uni.
there.
Are you,
I left.
you left?
this year.
We,
Yeah.
we both left. We used to be in a unit, in the same studio.
The same unit, the same studio. Yeah.
Right.
So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Sorry for calling you in. for the
pleasure
hope
to
that
be
you can
here.
enlighten us a bit lah.
Sure, sure.
What do you think about AI? His students said it might take some of our jobs.
Yeah.
Do you
So what's your point of view? Yeah, I think
do you agree?
honest one.
To a certain extent, yes,
Right.
because it does improve a lot of things in terms of optimization. It sort of help us
Productivity,
to
yeah.
pick up our performance a little bit. So some group of maybe the workforce that has not been up to a certain level of expectation, that might be a certain risk of being replaced. So that is undeniably a fact lah. But in fact, there's also a limitation that AIs can do, which cannot be replaced by humans. I mean, humans, you still have a stance that the AI has a limit to reach. I think that is what will still be possible, that we still can keep our jobs, no
Yeah,
worries,
yeah.
but we still need to work hard to match with that level.
Just another question. Do you think that we should teach students, I mean the users should teach them how to use it, and at the same point teach them that, okay, this is the AI lessons, but there is other things that, I mean, make it transparent to them.
Part of the syllabus.
Part of the syllabus, I make it transparent. Okay, you learn AI, that's fine. We teach you how to use AI.
Now we
but
expect
at
you
the
to do
same
better.
time, you do the. Oh, we expect
I expect you now to do more drawing faster
In a shorter time.
But
yeah.
what the best approach you think for institution to take up AI?
Yes, definitely we need to teach them, because
Okay.
in order for us to be able to control AIs, we need to understand them first. Same to the students. If they have not been exposed to the technologies, they don't know to what extent they can use it as their own benefits, right? So that is very important. If you don't teach them at all, and if you don't allow them to use it, there's a chance that it will be obsolete. The skills will be obsolete,
Okay.
and there will be a less competitive kind of scenarios. I think at the end of the day, we want the student to be the boss. They still to be the boss,
Yeah.
to control the AI as a tool. It's still to be at the level of being
As a tool.
equipment as a tool, instead of the person that's gonna make decision for the students.
Right.
The students still need to be the decision maker.
Alright.
So they still need to be trained to think, because
Yes.
they are the ones in control of the tool, not the other way around.
Yes.
It's not like I'm typing some keywords and magically some nice architecture comes out, right? I
That's
mean,
right. There still need to be
Yeah.
the Iron Man there to control Jarvis.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good.
What
that's a
do you
good-
think about the grey lines of people training AI to become something? For example okay, the student train the AI by inputting your feedback into the AI, so they know how you feel and how you will react. So in that sense, he put there, if I want to design a tropical house, how do you going to react to it dalam kurungan, behaving like Mr. Firas and preference, architectural preference. Lepas tu keluar kan, he will say this. Memang betul sekali kan.
You say these keywords. Wow.
They train, some people train AI to become like their, what they call it, where they can put in their feelings and then they say, get motivation from the
Become
text-based
partners, the AI partners.
The learning
Training AI,
model.
is it a good thing or like in the film, like Her, I think they have a relationship with the AI in the
Yes.
Are we heading there?
Possible.
Oh, are we there?
I think there was that device. I can't remember what is it called. I cannot name names anyway, right? But it's kind of, I thought it was gonna end up like the movie Her, because you have something here and it's supposed to be like your PA, right?
All time listening to us all the day and waiting for the keyword to kick in.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
No, the reality is, already there's a technology like this in China. Yeah, a lot of bosses in China has been having a AKA boss number 2 to sort of replace the boss whenever he's not around.
And the boss number 2 is human or?
It's a robot. It's an AI.
Machine,
Yeah, it's not literally there, a human, not robot, no.
Yeah.
But it is always there to see the workers. It's like a sort of a duplication of the boss itself. It can mimic the sound, it can mimic the thinking, it can mimic like what you were just saying.
Mimic the thinking.
Like what the boss will react to a certain condition or situation.
Wow.
And give directions. Can
This-
he able to give directions?
This,
I don't think so. Like
Okay.
not to up to a step, or we can sign for the boss.
No, I mean directions like, okay, what's to do if we get this kind of problems.
Not until that. It's more
No.
like a civilians kind of.
Okay, more or less civilians.
this is like an episode of Black Mirror, right?
Could
In a
be.
way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So since you mentioned that, let's say in that situation where you can actually transfer a person's characteristics, right? But do you think there will come a point where, you know, the sensitivity of a human, you know, like in the situation of a boss, right? A boss to monitor the staff and whatsoever. But there's always that human element, the understanding. Do you think there will come a point where, no, because right now we're not there yet,
we
right? Right now it's a very literal, almost, okay, I input, this is how I would react, right? That's how you would train the model. Do you think that it is the possibility? Because
For me, I'm not sure, because we still are doing some anticipation, right, at this level.
Yeah.
But in terms of emotional kind of thing, I would see it as quite a passive kind of reactions, like how things has been influenced, how we feel about things. Sometimes you feel hot in a place, you feel cold in a place, and if that is actually being influenced by AI, that's really possible. Let's say if AI controls how we think, how we feel, if that feelings can be generated in terms of data, it is possible.
Right.
It is possible. But you might question again whether the boss will really want to put the emotion into a robot and you use that emotions to sort of become a response to the workers. That is another question. But if there is really that intention there, that is possible. When you can really digitalize all these things into AI, and that is, the answer is yes.
Okay. If we pull back to our practice, there's a period of time where people pin their interest and then show to their architects that this is their interest to be Now what if your layman clients start generating stuff, and then okay, I want the house to look like this, the image.
You mean clients produce?
Sekarang dia pun boleh lah.
Yeah.
Dia pun boleh.
True.
It might happen soon
It
because
happened to me.
That's
recently.
Pinning interest lah, boring.
Yeah, they
This is
can-
the next step lah.
The next step, they show me.
So how do
okay.
you ni react?
Well,
Mengamuk lah, of course lah.
Chill.
No, chill.
Chill,
I'm like, okay.
I can do this. You know.
Well, no.
No.
I was like, okay, why not you do this first, up until you start, then you come to me, then we see how.
Proceed from there.
So because I know at one point, he will understand that AI cannot do literally everything that we can do.
Yeah.
So I let them hit the wall first.
Okay, I got it. So your strategy is to frustrate them, putting in prompts with no ending, and what they want is actually a bad curve or bad with the toilet, just like you mentioned in our last episode. But the AI just can't seems to understand it to the point where you have to chip in. Okay.
So that's
Have you
how.
encountered anything like that?
The younger group of clients, yes.
The younger group of clients.
they're more tech savvy lah.
Yeah. I have clients that used to be my students.
Flex up.
Okay.
Dia boleh kritik.
Whenever we have a discussion on design,
Dia yang beti tu lah. Dia do business kot.
yes. And every time we have discussion on design, then my client say, "Hey, so, this sounds like a tutorial." In reverse. Yeah, in reverse. So yes, the client actually did some own research and tried to generate a certain directions for the design, which could be the first tiers of discussion. And when we are the professionals to come and chip in our knowledge and all that, then we bring forward the design to another step. So that could be a good foundation for the clients to start something that they want.
Conversational
So you are
starter lah.
flexible to accept it.
I'm okay with
I think we should actually. We should. It
Yeah.
kind of some part of our pain working, finding out what they want.
Yeah.
So why not let them find it what they want, and then we try to assist them.
Yes, that's right.
Would you say that it's even better than pinning your interests? Because because it's translated from text, right?
Yeah.
And the text is actually what they have
Yes,
in their head,
the
right?
visuals.
Yeah, the visuals. Right. So touching on that matter, we talk about productivity, right? AI increases productivity. So what are the tools that an architect can use to actually? I mean, just name some. I think that maybe top of your head, say, okay, I think this is few good examples.
The obvious one is definitely the visualization part. That is save a lot of time and can do in seconds. Previously, we have to spend hours and hours to generate a certain, let's say, perspectives, renderings. Now it's just one button. That's it.
Can we now produce floor plan? Or AI? Oh yeah, we can already.
Yes.
Wow.
But of course, it's not up to the details that it's an exact dimension, is it? But give you a direction, so how you want to lay out your spatial designs and all that.
Wow.
It's already at that level, and everyone can be architect sometimes.
I think a good escape clause is that it's not that I can't do whatever you generated. It's just that the budget don't allow me to go there. Cik, tak cakap lah dia tak ada duit. The budget doesn't allow me to go there. I can almost reach there, but cannot be exactly due to the budget and the material. I don't know, maybe ada lah kot. Everything is sold here in architects. But there must be certain level of expectation lah. It can't be exactly even if it's rendered in our company, meaning we design it ourselves and we render it. There's a possibility it might look different in real life. Apatah lagi AI generated.
So we still need an architect actually to design proof maybe, or to check on the material to produce it, or I think design proof lah is the words, to see whether it's buildable, whether it can be accepted, whether it will have any unseen problems which AI might not able to see. Is okay. Another question that I have, one thing that I always wonder if AI can help me. Is there any AI can check my stuff drawings?
Whoa,
Personal ni.
yeah.
No, my stuff. I think you guys will have.
I think
this
stuff Ira kat luar.
Start to work on you.
Checking, I don't think so at this point.
Checking,
But if you really ask the AIs to do something exactly what your staff would do, you do a full set of drawings or something like that. Maybe in the near future.
As a database, as a reference.
But it's not really like up to a level that maybe your staff has its own line width kind of style, or mimicking the way your staff is doing things, putting layers in the exact way of
That-
how you. No, that's not
no.
up to that level lah.
Well, do you think there will be one, or people don't care about it?
At this point, maybe not so important. Yeah. So because those things are more on the technical and production side, it somehow could. To enhance the productivity if you are working in a big team. But to a certain extent, I think we haven't reached there yet. So at this point, most of the AI that could help us is on the things that we used to do with a longer times, like renderings or finding images that is suitable for the mood board. Those kind of things that AI could help. But until to the level of managing the drawings, I think that's not there yet for now.
Does Malaysia have any AI company at the moment, or any collaboration with AI company?
There are a few AI companies, but let's say visualization, there will be companies to do that. And now I think the government also have some initiatives on AI.
Really?
Yeah, they have a lot of they call it the AI roadmap. One of the pillars is to encourage AI startups to be developed in Malaysia. So I think in the near
This
future.
is under which department? Of
Mostly,
Mostly.
Yeah,
most likely.
Yes.
Mostly.
I think there's one. I think there's
That's good.
been debated in Parliament also to support this company lah per se.
Yeah.
I think that is one. Okay, thank you so much, Tak.
Thank you very much.
And that's marked the end of our special session here in Architects 2024. Us three and the Architects team would like to thank our special guests for dropping by, of course, and to the Exto Pod G+, of course, and because they provide this special podcast space lah, to be honest. Until next time, this is The Bawang I don't know how we feel about this name, to be honest. All things architecture, live from Architects 2024. See you at Architects 2025. Bye-bye.
Bye.